Hi everyone, welcome back to another Tech Talk Tuesday with me, Nisa. Today I'm joined by Safia Paul, the co-founder of Allez. Welcome to Tech Talk Tuesday, Safia.
Thank you so much, Nisa.
Yes. Now, could you let us know what inspired you to create a ride-sharing app and give us a little bit more information about Allez?
Okay, so this was triggered by travel. So myself and my co-founder, we love to travel, and we were actually traveling around and had been discussing doing a project at home because we lived abroad. And so we were in Ghana and we were facing a lot of traffic. And we saw some motorbikes just sliding by, just riding by with people on it like they were on a taxi. So we started talking and remembering Carnival in St. Lucia the past years and how much traffic and how much congestion there is whenever we have a lot of people on there. We were like, well, we need to find ways for people to find transportation a little bit easier. So why not do a ride sharing? I mean, we've lived abroad, we've used it on our travels before in several countries, and not just Uber. There's other countries that are smaller or bigger and they use even their local type of ride sharing to get around using their taxi drivers, etc. So we were just wanting to help with the congestion at first. And now, it's growing into much more. So what is Allez? Allez is a ride-sharing app, but we do more than that. We have, you can contact us for manual bookings, for tours and things outside of the app right now. But in the app, you can get on-demand transportation. So basically download an app, wherever you want to go, you put in the location. We use GPS. It's working in St. Lucia, although some people think not. You put in your address and you say where you want to go to where you want to go. Then it comes up with the pricing. Once you like the price, you click it, and then it goes to the drivers to see who can take you where you want to go. So that's really what the app is. As for what Allez is we like to talk about ourselves as logistics and transportation. We are very eager to get people more access around St. Lucia. We're too small. We are too small to have these hard, times getting around a 230 square mile rock, right? So we're very interested in figuring out how to make sure that it's more efficient to get around because it increases our productivity when we're not sitting in traffic or standing on bus stands with no sight, not knowledge of when the bus will arrive.
More rides inside, correct?
Lots of bus inside and don't know if they'll come, if they'll have space, how long I'll be standing here. So we're very big on improving processes just generally, but transportation is a major thing because we believe that more people can move around easily. That's the better for all of us. We can transact. There's more commerce when we can move around. People can do things. We had a situation in Canaries, for instance. A student was telling us she had to not go to classes at Sa'aka because she couldn't find her way back from home. So people are missing opportunities for school, for work because they cannot get from Canaries to Castries. Yeah. That's a little bit ridiculous. So we really wanted to be a part of the change, and that's why Allez is here.
Thank you. Yeah, so Orbtronics had actually previously highlighted the significant challenges in St. Lucia's transportation system, the bus system specifically, in a last Tech Talk Tuesday episode. Crowded bus stops during peak hours, long and uncertain wait times, as mentioned, and the disorganized boarding process. You have to be pushing people to board a bus. So how does the app complement or address these issues?
So I would say the app current state probably doesn't, but we have a lot of plans to get into fixed routes as well in the future. But current state, what the app provides is an option. If you don't want to wait and you don't know how long, you can take you and two of your friends, because it's 3 is the minimum for the ride, and you all can take an alley and go where you want to go, especially if you're going in the same direction. So as for now, with regards to the buses, we're not in that space right now, but we have plans to get in that space from a point of view to your point of using the technology, because the technology could today, if our bus drivers wanted, and I'll give them the free lip, if they wanted, we could know where they are, right? Because they have phones, right? And so we could tell people the bus is coming because we know where the drivers are. Actually, but it had to take somebody to organize that. Now, I think what we have now is a lot of private transportation. So there's everybody owning their own business. So it has to be an overarching body that comes together to organize that. As to who's willing to be organized, that's left to discuss. That's another talk that we will have to talk about later on. But there are things today we can implement. So like our transportation ministries can probably work on that, That's things I think that they should be working on, getting us organized and using the technology to improve our lives. Yeah,
I agree 100%. So what opportunities did you see in launching a service like this in our market we don't have an Uber, we don't have a Lyft. So what opportunities did you guys see when you guys started up?
So, even for us, so during Carnival, during the high peak seasons, we have friends who are coming down. They're asking us these questions. How do I go from here to here? I would not advise someone to take a bus from Viewport to Grosley because, you have to stop in Castries, walk across the thing with your suitcases and then go off. And then you can't even just go in town and know where to go to get that bus, right? So I can't tell somebody go to town and go grocery. They'll have to know where to go to get to the grocery stand, right? So we had a lot of issues with trying to get our own friends around. And so that's why we felt like, okay, if there's an opportunity, everybody uses it around the world. This is not a novice concept. It has been used at the conversation about Uber versus taxi has already boiled over, across the world, right? So this is not a new concept. It's just that we felt, we need to implement the technology to help us. It's there as our friend, and so we might as well be the change, right? Versus waiting on somebody else to do it.
I agree, yeah. So we're talking about tech, but so what measures have you guys implemented to ensure safety and trust between riders and non-drivers?
Yeah, okay. So for you to be a driver, so we have about 500 people who download our Allez driver app, but we have about 100 who are approved. And that is because there is a rigorous process. You have to provide pictures of your vehicle, videos of your vehicle, your insurance, your registration, police record. That's another thing as well. It's very important for the riders, right? So when you have uploaded all these documents, that's the only time you can be approved. So if you put one or put none, then you will forever just be downloading the app. You won't be able to participate in driving people around. So that's what we put in place because people do ask, like, how do I know that this person is not going to take me into the bush? Well, we track you as well using the GPS, right? If you're on a ride, we know where you are. You have the ability to message our support if you feel like you're in danger or something, and we can quickly pull up where you are and dispatch any emergency or anything if needed. Knock on wood, we haven't had such a case, and we hope we never do because we take our time to make sure that the people that we put to drive are properly approved. We've been wanting to put the motorbikes. We have the option to use motorbikes, but we have an issue. Most of our motorcyclists don't have insurance, and we will not put them on our app, right? So that's where, we make sure that we put the rigors in place so our riders can trust that, okay, when I get into an Allez vehicle, I am monitored, I can reach out to somebody, I am safe because they've done the due diligence to ensure that they're not just dropping me in anybody ride. We hear that like, oh, I don't know who take me in the bush. No, they're not Allez. They'll be a taxi and you won't be able to track them, but not Allez.
I wish we had these rigorous obligations for bus drivers. I mean,
we need it. And that's another thing too. I hear conversations about, oh, the taxis are certified and they have this and the other. But when you really get down to the meat of it and their professionalism, how they treat people and all of that, you ask yourself, what is this certification? Is this checking all of those parameters on customer service, on professionalism? Just wearing a nice shirt and pants is not enough to give somebody service, right? Yeah. You have to be on time, you have to communicate well, and also aggressively here. I remember I also do property management, right? And so sometimes people who don't use Allez, I have the taxi drivers calling me, and sometimes I say to myself, I wish they just used Allez because what I have to go through, far less what they're going through. It's really like, it's saddening to know that sometimes we're doing all of these things. We're saying, oh, people are certified and this and the other, but we're not really checking the service that they're providing. And that is where, we can tamper or hamper or disrupt our tourism product if we're not taking care of these things. So hopefully we can get some,
and some improvements to the onboarding of taxi drivers, but also bus drivers in our public transportation as well.
Exactly, right. Exactly.
So
standards, right? Some standards.
So sorry, for sure. So how do you plan to scale the app as it gains traction? Because you're at 100 drivers right now. You have 500 people who downloaded the app but have not been approved. So how do you plan?
So what we do is so if we see that you've at least put in one document, we've done the exercise of calling and asking, do you need help? We've done all of that. So it's really a matter of interest. If they're interested, then they come on board. We help them finish the process, whether it be they're having issues uploading or stuff. We can help them do that. But then it just comes down to, I think people are just curious. They wanted to know what it is. Some of them are not really interested in driving. So we found from the ones who downloaded who are the ones who want to move forward. We've gotten them on board and moving forward. And then what we do now is we're going to start back again. We did that before and we're doing it again. We went to every community in the beginning of Allez and we did drives, pop-ups to tell them about Allez and encourage them to sign up, tell them why. Because there's tourists who want to go and do more things, but it's a little difficult to do that in the landscape because you have to call a taxi driver and ask them for X, Y, and this one. And if you want to stop here and stop the other, then the price starts to get a little bit uncontrollable. So we want a thing where people can move around easily. So we said, you know what, for them to do that, they need options around St. Lucia. So we took the time, went to every community, did pop-ups, got some people there as well, and we want to do that exercise again. Because, of course, there's new people who are available, new people who are open, people who just want to wait and see, right? It's too fresh. Let's come back. How long have you been open? So once you're a little more established, then I think they'll give us a second air and they can come on board. And that's the thing. The thing about Allez is we actually have people, maybe they did a trip last year, July, then they'll come back again January, because it's really like you can make your own schedule. Allez is not telling the drivers get online. The drivers decide when they go online, right? So we have to have a lot of drivers. That way, if you want to sleep and they don't want to sleep, there's somebody who's awake to take people around.
So do you find that you have more tourist riders or more local riders?
I think it's a mix. When it's tourists, it's usually coming from the airport or something, I think, more, and then maybe the north. But we actually have people just normal day, they need to get around and they're asking us for their rides and they use it, yeah. So it's used, and actually when we started, we were more focused on our local people because we know that taxis have the tourists covered. That's stuff. So we were more concerned about in our little 238 square miles, why is it so hard to get around? And that's why so many people buy cars, because they cannot rely on the public transportation. They cannot rely on how to get in the hole they're living in with the whole roads. So they end up getting cars, and now all of us are sitting in traffic. Yep. So had the public transportation just been improved, it may have helped us not be in this kind of situation.
Traffic, exhaust, a lot of pollution,
congestion, a lot of productivity. People are late, missing meetings, having to do all kind of things, just sitting there in traffic. So that's all. I don't know, like how. That's things that our transportation ministry is supposed to be focused on, right? The overall layout of it's not just the roads. It's how we traverse. Are we getting around efficiently? Are we productive? They have to make changes so that we can move around. Why aren't we using the waterways more? True. You know what I'm saying? Why are only tourists the ones can use our waters? Yeah. Why can't we use our waters to move up and down? You understand what I'm saying? So there's a lot of resistance to change. I get it, because sometimes change is scary, but we have to move. The whole world has moved. Well, maybe not the Caribbean, but the whole world has moved or is moving. And instead, when we, sometimes there's people who are willing to change, but sometimes when we pitch those things, there's a lot of resistance. As if you think, we lived abroad, so you come from outside. You understand all of that is what do you mean? We're supposed to go outside to learn the things and bring them back home, and that's the point.
I think people sometimes think that you're judging them because you're trying to make things better.
Yeah. Absolutely not. It's because we want all of us to be able to not have to sit in. When I have to leave here and go back, I dread it. I always say, do I really have to go to town? And I want to do all the things I need to do in one time, because I cannot waste my time sitting in traffic to come down here. And when I know that we can do better, it's just, I don't know, a lack of doing so. So, just right there.
So as we're on the topic of growth and expansion, other plans for expansion beyond, say, Lucia?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So in our website, we have Allez, that's West Indies, Allez. So we definitely plan to expand to other countries. As a matter of fact, we have people emailing us like, when are you coming to this? When are you coming to Dominica? When are you coming to our? We're like, as soon as we stabilize, get our things set, because, the technology, and you should know this, we have to go through constant iterations of the technology and launching and making sure things are stable. So until we get to that point where we feel like, okay, everything is pristine, now we can scale up, then we're going to look into going to other islands. And it's easy to move, right? With technology. Heck yeah. It's easy to just open. So that's the advantage we have. We don't have to go and build a space or anything, right? At Berkeley Water. We can just literally launch
Okay.
by snapping the finger. Yep.
That sounds great. Let's see. So what do you envision for the future of ride sharing in St. Lucia? How do you see this impacting transportation?
So what we would like to see, we have a carpooling, I would say, culture, in the sense that if you're not taking the bus, you're looking for a hike or a ride or, from here to here. We also have a lot of people, I believe, maybe who live near each other that are going in the same direction and are unaware. True. You know what I mean? So, in my community, how many of us are going to town and why aren't we aware of this and going together? If it's around the same time, because the more people we can put in one vehicle, the less vehicles that are on the street. So what we would like to see is a more community neighborhood aspect where you would know or can know who's going where at what times, like what the demand is, where things are going, and there are more options for people to carpool, not necessarily in their car, but to go in a group to that location. We also want to see the bus routes change or not be like how they are. So for instance, my friends who have to go to Moshi, they have to go to Rosalie, stop in the thing, cross the road, and then go to Moshi. So that's from Cashews. What do you do from Rosalie to Moshi? You have to either go to town and take the Moshi bus up, or do the same thing and stop. You cannot go from Gozali to Moshi. Why? Right? There's a lot, and there are people going from Gozali to Moshi. And if you knew how many were going and when they were going, and if we have this data, which we can collect with the technology, then we can organize ourselves a little bit better. So that's what Allez helps us do. We can collect data. So with all of the requests, whether we can meet them or not, because that's a problem we have more requests than we can supply, because at the time when somebody's requesting, maybe the drivers are not online or they're unavailable in said area, right? So we still have that where we need to increase the drivers, right? So if we have more intel on where people are trying to go, the times they're trying to go, then we can maybe tell the bus drivers, because they want the money. So avail them of these routes that are popular and need to be serviced at said times, right? And we can get people to get into less vehicles and to go in similar directions. Similarly, with regards to the waterways, we're very interested in developing our waterways and not for the tourists, for ourselves. Why can't there be a shuttle from Grizzly to Castries for people who work in town? I'm sure there's a lot of people in the government buildings who live along, like Morning Marina side, that they could go there and get to town and not have to sit in traffic, right? And then get back from work. So for us, the future is really about what can we implement, and I know sometimes people get in the way of these things, but what can we implement so that we have efficiency, people know timing of things, like so they can plan. If I know I can get a bus at 4 p.m., I can plan better than, okay, I finish work at 3:30 and I just have to hope I get a bus. I hope to get home, right? So that's what we want to do. We want to use the technology to give us the options, give us timing, give us, the data, so that we can use that to organize ourselves. Yeah.
That's really good. That's really impressive. Okay. And so what has been the most rewarding part of developing the app so far?
I think whenever we get the reviews that tell us like, hey, I was not able to do X before and now I have an option. It's like, oh, okay, so that's why we did it. Because, you get the negative. It's we can't get away from it. You get the as if the 40 is supposed to be a millionaire overnight type of thing, like, where's the money? right? You get those things. But when we hear the people who say, if this was not an option, I would not be able to do X, that's where the reward is. Because it's like, okay, the vision that we had about getting people around, getting access to things that they didn't have before is really what really drove us. And so now we want to expand that to even those who maybe can't get around. How can we do that more efficiently so that we're not wasting time? Yeah, I prefer if I was driven than driving, because I can do meetings or other things while I'm being driven, right? But I want to make sure that's safe. I want to make sure that it is on time. I can rely on this thing, right? And so I think that's where some of the challenge will come in, getting our systems in place here, but we have to put our people to work the systems. So it's whether or not they stay within the things that we try to build. So it's an ongoing thing. We're optimistic because we know it is possible. We've seen it in other places. So it's really just just continue working, and whoever wants to come on board will, and those who don't, then such is life. I agree. But for real, why not us? Well, right? Not us. I mean, why we have to wait on somebody from Uber or wherever to come here and do it? Now Uber won't come. We're too small for Uber. We can't give them no money. Yeah. So why can't we organize for ourselves? And it doesn't mean Allez, I'm saying, why can't we use the things that we know, the technology, get the data, use the technology, and then make decisions? Versus right now, I think we just do things. Yeah. There's not really any rhyme or reason. Our transportation industry actually is an unchecked industry. They don't have to pay taxes, so we don't even know the scale of the industry for real, right? So then, how do you do things for the future without data? Yeah. And I think to Allez, we're taking data every time somebody's requesting and stuff, and that's what we do. We use the data. We were about to be doing our year end, and what did we do last year? What we need to do this year? We're going to check our reports and make the data guide us. Not our feelings and we have dreams and thoughts, but at the end of the day, we have to go with what the data is telling us and move accordingly.
So I think that's a real issue in St. Lucia and the Caribbean by extension. Data, you're having a real issue with the quality of the data that we do have and the data that we don't have.
Quality, because bad data in is bad data out. Say, and I think I was talking to somebody about it. I was like, so let me give you. So my co-founder and I, we both did process improvement in the US. So that means we used to go into all these big companies, you name them, American Airlines, whatever, all the names that you know, and go in there and tell them, well, this process needs to be changed this way for you to make more money and be efficient, right? So this is our background, processes and streamlining things. So that's why we were like, okay, so we need to get into a stage where we are creating the system that will allow us to then move in the directions versus just, and using the data to do that, not just, I have an idea, Yeah, we have many ideas, but just us alone is not what is needed to do what we need for everybody. All of us have to be involved in the process. We have to use the data. Good data in. Good data in, good data. Good. I go, you sound here. Okay.
And so, how can our viewers support? How can they get involved with
Allez? Well, you download the app. So we're in the Google Play Store, Apple App Store. It's called Allez, Allez. That's for the riders. If you want to be a driver, and we need more, and you can make your own schedule, so you can download Allez Driver app and sign up there. You could do both. Sometimes your car might be down. You need a ride to your mechanic. So you never know if your back of your next morning. Get the Allez. Can have Allez in your back pocket, in case something happens to your vehicle as well. Or if you have a vehicle and want to make extra cash, pay back, you can sign up and be a driver, because that's one of our good problems. We need more drivers.
I'm so sad that I can't be a driver. I'm more of a passenger princess. Thank you so much, Sapir. Yes, so good talking to you. I think that we had a really interesting conversation and a lot of good points came up. Thank you everyone for listening, and please do follow and like this episode of Tech Talk Tuesday. Go ahead and follow and see you guys next time.